Welcome, everyone. I'm Shirley Farrar, and you have tuned into Encouragement on Fire. So glad you decided to tune in today. We're going to give it a few moments, allow some people to join us. We're on podcast number 9. You know, if you are going through cancer, sickness, another disease, and you need to be encouraged, you are in the right place. You're in the right place. So allow myself and others that are online to encourage you. No matter if you have decided to tune in right now or even a year from now, we hope that this information will encourage you and that you will move through your process. So I am going to get started. Again, I'm Shirley Farrar, and you have tuned into Encouragement on Fire, podcast number 9. We are moving along. I am excited just to be a part of this and have the opportunity to come into possibly your living room or at your bedside, wherever you may be, just to encourage you that it's going to be okay. No matter what the process is, it's going to be okay because you're not alone. Usually at this time, I would talk about a current event, but I want to talk about something a little different today. So today, I had the opportunity to assist a friend of mine. Her name is Lucy Harris. Hey, Lucy, I'm shouting out to you right now. But I'm excited simply because Lucy has been a friend of mine for about 28 years or more. And we've always stayed in contact, whether we were at the same church or not. Because I know a lot of times relationships stop, when you're not at the same church, but it shouldn't, especially if people mean a lot to you. But her husband had went through a sickness and he conquered it. He overcame it. And, he and his wife assisted in, he actually did the work, but she was his support in helping for my mother's, her suite. So we have an in-law suite for my mom at our house now, and they were a big part of that. And so I just want to give them a shout out and say thank you very much for all the contribution that you did. And then in that, by helping her today, there were a few people that I met from my bishop's church. And I remember one in particular, and I'm going to have her on my show in the future. But today I want to talk about one particular person, and her name is Jacqueline. So hey, Jacqueline, nice meeting you today. And she's the assistant manager at Great Clips in Mansfield Square, New Jersey. And I just want to say they do a Clips of Kindness. And so if you are going through cancer, they do free haircuts. So I encourage all of you, it's a safe place to go. You have to determine that yourself, but Jacqueline seemed very nice and she keeps good company, people that I know. And so I consider that a safe individual. If you want a haircut, go and see her so you can, make it the way you want it to be. Because one of the things that I dealt with, as you all know, I don't have as much hair as I used to, but it's growing back now after conquering cancer and going through the chemo. Yes, it did shed my hair, but I did the big chop. Isn't that right, Pastor Darrell? I went in there.
Yes. Took ownership.
I took ownership before the chemo, before my first chemo, and I had my sister cut it all off. So sometimes you have to just take that initiative because I didn't want to go through it being in my pillow. I didn't want to go through waking up and just being devastated. I felt as though I'll do this to myself. I'm not going to allow it to do it to me. But each person is different. And if your hair is shedding and you want to look manageable, go see Jacqueline. Okay. And also, I want to mention to everyone now, we have a date on the calendar. I talked to members of the board of directors for the House Breach Restoration, which is a community project under the Meeting House Church. And we are going to have a walkathon. Woo-hoo-hoo! Yes, and it's going to be on October the 1st, 2022, which is Saturday, on a Saturday. And if you want more information, you can get that information at housebreachrestoration.org. So that's housebreachrestoration.org. And yes, it's HTTPS colon forward slash forward slash. And if you go on the first page and just click on projects, you will be able to read more about the projects that we will be doing. I haven't put a lot of detail, but I will as the time progresses forward. I think that it's really important that there are a lot of different great organizations like the Cancer Society and others that are out there um, doing, walks to encourage people and to let them know that their donated dollars are going towards, defeating cancer, fighting against that, and helping families. There are plenty of different organizations that bring individuals into their location and take care of the family, especially the ones that assist the children. I think that's the shrine. Is that Shriner? The Shriner and different ones. So many of you are already familiar with them, and I hope that you are walking on their walkathons. I know they're having one in October as well. But House Beach Restoration is going to be having one, and it's going to be called Conqueror Walkathon. So I hope that many of you join in on our website. So click on there and join in and possibly get a t-shirt, a Conqueror, more than a Conqueror t-shirt moving forward. Okay. All right. So also we have today, I'm going to be talking about a couple of things or two things. First, I'm going to dive into some lymphatic tools that I hope that will be helpful for you moving forward, as well as a book called God Cures. This is a special topic to me, and I believe to many of my viewers and listeners that you want to know, does God still cure? Did God ever cure? Right? That's a topic that I think when you're sitting in your bed, you really want to know, I'm a Christian or I'm a Catholic or other, and I believe. And we even looked at some research in our prior podcast, and it talked about how more than 80% of individuals really believe in angels. They believe in supernatural of that form. So whether you're a faith-based person or not, you still believe that there's something out there greater than yourself, right? So why not believe that God cures? It's not too far fetched. And so let me get into the lymphatic tools. So the first lymphatic tool that I want to talk about is a jade facial roller. Now, when I went online, remember, they're not paying me for this, so I'm just telling you some things that I use. When I went online, this was one of the boxes that I received, so you can see that. And in this particular box, the box on it says gemstone. Okay, so in this particular box, you can go on any online or even in a store, and they have specific tools. See that? So that's a jade facial roller. And you roll towards the directions that the lymphatic clears your body. So think about your ear gate. If you're rolling towards it, right? It takes all of that inflammation and pushes it that way and causes that um, you know uh, the lymphatic to work better. Now remember, I am not a doctor, I am not a nurse. I am telling you my own experience, so look into it yourself and research it. I'm just giving you some other understanding perhaps you did not know about it. Now also there's a small one here, and this one you move towards, again, towards the ear, and you're moving that lymphatic system, right? Getting it healthy, working it towards that very lightly, right? Just keep in mind, keep it cool. You don't want it hot, you want it cool. You can keep it in the freezer if you like. Mine stays cold. I think it's because of my house. I honestly believe that. But then besides this one, there's also this one in here. So you can use that one on the edge of your skin at the bottom, just moving that right up, the rolling it up and the lymphatic system, and it helps as well. So I think that's a great tool. Now, I also did a little bit more research and I found some different ones that I want to show you. Now, I got it mine in a bag like this. So you can see the bag. And these tools came in the bag. These are lymphatic tools. Now, on your back. So you're going to need someone to help you. So this particular one right here, see, it's a lymphatic drainage massage. And what it does is it rolls on your back. Somebody will have to help you and they'll roll in towards the underarm area towards your back. They'll roll it towards the bottom area. Remember, areas that leave the body. So just think of it that way. And you can also go online and you can get some information in regards to that. But it leaves the body. These are things that I used in my process in conquering cancer, getting that lymphatic system working again. So you may want to try something like this. And there are other tools as well. This particular one goes on, you see that? And they all come in the same kit. So this particular one goes on the leg. So think about it. This is like your thigh. And you move it again up the leg towards, you know, just towards your middle area. So you do that on each of your legs. And if you get assistance, somebody can help you on the back of your leg. And some people can do it themselves. Now, the final one that I want to tell you about is this one. So these are all lymphatic drainage massagers. So this one, as you can see, they all roll, right? So I use this one on my arms, right? And I roll up, right, towards the underarm area because it's an area leaving the body. When you sweat, those are areas that are leaving the body. So you want to do all of these things if you believe that the lymphatic system helps clear the impurities from your body. And I encourage you to research, please. But this, I'm telling you, between these tools as well as getting on the rebounder, which many of you call, what is it? The trampoline. It's a mini trampoline. These particular tools and the trampoline helped me where before I went to the doctor, my lymph nodes were clogged. That's where how the cancer was able to do what it did. But then when I started using them, when I went back for my next PET scan, they started to clear. So you can call it coincidence if you want, but I believe all of these things, including diet, definitely worked for me. So that's why I'm sharing it with you, and I'm hopeful that you will utilize it as well. Okay? All right, so we're going to move forward. So now we're going to get into talking about the book. Okay? So this particular book was written by Damon Davis, and we're going to just talk about chapter 1. I don't think we're going to really get beyond that because Pastor Darrell and I are kind of going to talk about it in a little bit of detail. So we're going to try not to move too quickly on it because we really want you to interact if you're online with us. If you're not, then maybe later on you'll actually interact later on and put in the comments, and that's okay too. So the first thing I want to talk about in Mr. Davis's book, God Cures. First of all, when I seen the word God cures, I was taken back. And you know what? Let me show you another. I'm gonna pull it up. Hold on. Now I have this particular book on my Kindle. So everyone is different. Hold on, I want to show you here. Everyone's different on how they read. So I have mine on my Kindle, and I'm going to show you my book. See, God Cures by Damon Davis. My mom, I believe she has the actual book itself, and I'm not sure if Audible has the book. From the last time when I went on Audible, I could not get it. I was going to purchase it on there as well. Perhaps they have it as of right now. I encourage them to put it on there because individuals will want to hear it out loud. That's what I was looking for. However, reading it was just as good. And chapter one, he talks in regards to our relationship with God, right? We Everyone has a different relationship with God, and he relates it to when we are in our prayer time with God, we tend to treat God like he is part of like the talking box. I don't know if you're familiar, if you're reading the book along with us, then you'll know what I'm talking about. You know, we refer to Alexa online as the talking box. And how many of you out there, you actually have Alexa in your house? So I have Alexa, and some people have some other version, but it's still a talking box, right? Pastor Darrell, how did you feel when we first got the Alexa?
I didn't want it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't want it because of certain reasons. Who
It's
knows?
intrusive.
Right. But
It's all in the biz.
when you want something, you can say, "Hey, Alexa," and all of us, and you can ask a question, and you'll get the question.
Or some have Siri.
Yeah, some have Siri, so Siri or Alexa, but you get something answered, or if you want music played, it plays it instantly, right? If you have subscribed to certain things, because you can't get everything. Um, but our relationships, he talks about our relationships with God in the fact that when you want something from Alexa or from Siri, you get it like that. You get it instant. And he's saying that in many of our relationships, let's be honest, because think about it, Alexa or Siri, you can't see them. So you almost begin to think of them like God, right? Think about that. I mean, let's be honest. Because as soon as you're in your prayer time, what do? Well, God, I need this. Well, God, I need that. God, this person is bothering me. This right? And we want it. How quickly do we want it? We want it instantly. And it doesn't happen like that. And then he goes on and he questions, why not? Right? Isn't that what everyone's thinking? Why not are we getting it right away? See, that's the thing. It's about your relationship with God. Some people say, well, when I pray, I get it instantly. And other people will say, not so much. So some people would say, according to Damon in this book, Mr. Davis, he says, well, some people would say, God is teaching us something, right? See, these are all questions that I'm saying them, but you're all thinking them. Yeah, why don't I get it quick? When I prayed to God about that healing that I needed, why didn't it come quick? When I talk to Siri, when I talk to Alexa, right? Think about what I'm saying. And based on your relationship, how many of you actually spend more time praying to God than you do talking to Alexa or Siri? Right? And then, but we want, based on, well, I'm in this prayer time right now, and I want it right now, God. Right? I want it right now. So, I just want you to ponder those things. And these are things that cause us to think about who are we in our faith, right? Where am I in that moment, and what will I be willing to do to change maybe my relationship with God? Perhaps have peace with my relationship with God. So he goes on and he says in a quote, he says, we keep making the same mistakes and passing the same issues from one generation to the next. Now, hear what he's saying. Now, think about that. This could be a mistake in life, right? This could be a sickness that's passed down from generation to generation. That's why when you go to the doctor, what do they ask you? Do you have a history of someone who has cancer? Do you have a history of somebody who has diabetes? Do you have a history of someone who has heart disease? Because there's some things that are being passed down. Even if you're a faith-based person and you believe in the Holy Bible, the Bible even talks about the sins of the parents fall on the third and fourth generation, right? To them that what? Hate God. What does that mean? See, I think a lot of times we read the scriptures and we're like, whoo, third or fourth generation. To them that hate God. And what does God say? If you love me, you'll what?
Keep my commandments.
Keep my commandments. What commandments is he talking about? We automatically think it's the 10 commandments.
Love your brother.
Right?
As yourself.
Right. Exactly. And think about it. There are how many commandments in the word of God? And I'm not talking about the 10 commandments. There are many. God tells us in his word all the time about eating the fruit, right? The fruit bearing or seed bearing fruit. He tells us in the word of God to do a lot of things. And we ignore the things that the preachers, the pastors, we teach it from the pulpit. And then are we doing it? Or when there's a commercial on television or someone has a new food or they have something different, oh, that's good for you. And they convince you it's good for you, but it may not fall into the line of what he's saying for our bodies, right? So this is something to think about, really something to think about. So, what is your take on it, Pastor Gerald, when he talks about, passing these things down to generation to generation?
Well, like you said, it says the sins of the father fall in the third and fourth generation.
Hmm.
And we, because we are born into sin, shaped in iniquity, we tend to uh, focus on those negative aspects,
Hmm.
on the stuff that, um, you've heard it over the years from other people.
Hmm.
You know, something's happening in the family, and the mother is upset with either the son or the daughter, or the father's upset with one of them, and they say, "You're just like your grandparents. You're just like your mother. You're just like your father."
Right.
Yada yada yada. So,
So there's some things that we are passing down
right,
from generation to generation, but is anyone addressing them?
right,
Is anyone saying, hey, this is a behavior that needs to be addressed and is unacceptable because this has gone down from 4 generations, right? Or
it's got to stop somewhere.
it's got to stop somewhere. Or let's look at our food. That's why they say to us when you go in there about your history, normally we eat like our parents and them before us.
Right.
So therefore, heart disease, because of the way you eat,
Right.
is being passed down.
And part of it was because of our economic statuses back then, and our parents might have eaten because they could only eat what they were able to get from their parents, whether it was
Absolutely.
farms or leftovers or whatever, and
Hmm.
they've learned to eat it, they've learned to cook it, and therefore they've given it to our parents.
Right.
And our parents said, "Well, this is what you got.
Right. Exactly.
You either eat it or you don't.
You eat it or you don't. You starve.
Right.
And most people say, I'm
And
going to eat it.
And the next thing you know, you
Right.
got that whole taste in your mouth because you know how I know how to make greens with
Right. And it tastes good. I'm not going to lie. That fat do taste good.
But that gets passed down to you.
Right.
And you perpetuate
Hmm.
the whole. It's sad to say you perpetuate
Hmm.
the diseased culture of food onto the next generation because this is what was given to you, and you look like you're healthy. You raised up right, and though you may have some creaking and some little things, but it ain't killed you yet.
But over time, because it's the third and fourth generation that hate God, meaning you're still not doing right. So now that third and fourth generation is paying the penalty of the sins of the parent. So so we have to start to say, for my body, how do I eat right? For my life, how do I have good behavior in my life moving forward? So it can be sickness, it could be your behavior, it could be a lot of things. That scripture, that principle goes a long way.
And also, with how the atmosphere and the climate has changed, the immune systems of our forefathers have changed as well.
Absolutely.
And so, we can look at the weather today and say, well, this time of the year it should be this temperature, and it's not.
Right.
And so our immune systems are weaker compared to the way they used to be because as the seasons change, your blood either thickens, or thins,
right.
And so everything's conditionary.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to some of the people on there. Hi, Cynthia. Hey, Elder Cynthia. Hey, Pastor Gwen. I see you, Sister Josephine. How you guys doing? Yeah, she said generational curses. Exactly. One of the things I want to talk about is this in the book in chapter 1. there's a section called the cycle of sickness. Yeah. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about, especially if you've been reading along with us. And I hope those out there, you get one on Kindle or purchase a book online. But this particular quote that Mr. Davis said in the book, he said, the issue we are going to deal with in this book, however, is that we typically find ourselves treating the symptoms of illness without ever really getting to the root of what caused our sickness to begin with. Now, I want to pause on that. Think about that. We focus on the symptoms. So when we talk to our doctors, what is their focus? They're trained to focus on the symptoms, right? That is what doctors do. They are focused on the symptoms. And I actually have a link. I'm going to put that in the Facebook page group for the Encouragement on Fire, because it literally, there's research on it and everything, and they talk about it. 99%, or I think it's like 90 some percent of our doctors, they're trained just to focus on your symptoms. When your symptoms are gone, in their eyes, you're cured, right? But when we look at the word cure, what does the word cure mean? Think about that. And then when we look at the word healed, that means something totally different. So next time we get involved, I want to talk about the word cure versus the word healing. And what is the difference between them? So we're going to talk about that in the next time, because I know that's going to be like about 7 minutes. We're going to talk about that one. However, we're not done yet. Pastor Daryl's like, man, we getting ready to get off already. We're not getting off yet. I'm just telling you, next time we're going to talk about cure versus healed. Now I'm saying to you that I was healed. So my doctor told me I went in remission, which is cure, February 14th of this year, Valentine's Day. But I profess I have been healed. Okay, I have been healed, because healing is something totally different than the word cure. One more thing that I want to say in regards to this: if we focus on the root of an issue, we go to the cellular, we go to the gene, we go to the reason why something is actually happening. So if you're sitting there and you're like, how did this happen to me? Cancer. If you're sitting there saying, how did this happen to me? Diabetes. If you're sitting there saying, how did this happen to me? Heart disease, whatever, you name it right now out loud. How did this happen to you? Well, I don't know how it happened, but I do know this. We must focus on not symptoms. We must look at the root. Where did it all start?
That all those diseases and stuff, they're just the offsprings.
It's just the offsprings. It's the symptoms.
Right.
So if your legs are swelling, why? They have a name for something, but that's not the root reason.
They call it edema when it swells.
Right. So we need to get to the bottom of it. The cellular, yes, Elder Cynthia, the cellular reason of why this is happening. And guess what? There are herbs out there. Remember what God said in his word, right? Seed-bearing fruit. There are herbs out there that can assist. Now, I'm not telling you don't take your medication from your doctor. Please do, okay? But I'm saying to you, you shouldn't be on it forever. Because guess what? That medication that they give you,
it's synthetic.
It's synthetic. That means it's not from the earth. And what it does is over time, it goes against your body, causes other things, and it shortens your life. So we really need to focus on getting to the root and getting rid of it.
In Genesis, we're made from the earth.
We're made from the earth.
So whatever is in the earth is in us. And has the ability, to recreate,
yes,
and to make us whole and healed by it.
Yes.
But if we put synthetic things in it, it eventually is going to go against.
And we're all guilty. We are all guilty of this, and myself included. We have to focus on and encourage each other. Okay, I'm going to start with my food, a little bit at a time. I'm going to start with my exercise, a little bit at a time. I'm going to focus on why am I going through this pain? Why am I going through this sickness? Why am I going through this disease? And get to the root of it. And I'm going to leave you with one scripture.
Matthew 3:10.
No, I'm not going to leave him with Matthew.
Okay.
Won't you quote Matthew
Okay,
3:10?
Matthew 3:10. It says, and now also the axe is laid unto the root of the trees.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, every tree which bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down
Mm-hmm.
and cast into the fire.
Yes, yes.
Meaning, whenever there's a symptom, whenever there's a
Mm-hmm.
tree and there's limbs on it, well, those
Mm-hmm.
limbs can't. And there's another one in John. He says, I am the
Mm-hmm.
vine. He said, and you can't grow unless you're attached to the vine.
Right.
The limbs can't grow unless it's attached to the trunk,
Right.
which is attached to the roots.
Right.
And he gets all his nourishment. It's
Mm-hmm.
all its water from the root.
From the root.
So the other stuff, the offspring, the
Mm-hmm.
fruit, and all that grows. Now, if the root is bad, the fruit is going to be bad. That's what that's one of the old axioms they say. You'll know the fruit by the root.
By the root. And I know everybody's on there. They know exactly what you're saying, Pastor Darrell. So in that, we've got to get to the root of the situation. Right. So next week we're going to still going to stay on chapter 1. We're going to go into chapter 2 though, but we're going to talk about cure versus healing. And I'm going to leave you another scripture. We go over this all the time. James 2:26. Faith without works is dead. So if you have a lot of faith, and I know many of my listeners and my viewers, you do, you must put the works with the faith. And if you have a lot of works and you have no faith, well, then you need to pray, Lord, help my unbelief. We're going to put both of them in this process together. So I know you're sitting there by your bed, and I'm telling you, you're not alone. We're going to work through this together, and you're going to put faith and works together, and we're going to get the results that you're supposed to have.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, you started talking about the GMO stuff and how it's really not good for us because it doesn't have any seed.
Right.
And the same applies. You know, some people can't understand this, but I want you guys to do your research and hear this.
You hear them? Do your research.
When they came out with toothpaste.
All right, we're not even gonna get in that message because we at the end of our session. He tried to get into a long day.
No. Listen, they had to add fluoride to toothpaste,
right?
Because fluoride was taken out of water.
Okay, yes. We're gonna talk about that next week. So no. I'm gonna write that down. So we're not only gonna talk about cure versus healing. We're also gonna talk about some products that, like Pastor Darrell said, your toothpaste. Remember, I told y'all I was using the Toms because it was during the chemo, it was very sensitive. So there's a lot of things over these next weeks. We're going to just dive right in, and we're going to give you as much information as we possibly can based on our own experience. But remember, you still have to do the work and do the research. Okay? So this week, I want you to focus on doing your steps. Remember, our goal is 5,000 to 10,000 steps a day. Right? I know somebody said a week. I can get a day. And we are going to look at the root of why the sickness has come. Okay? Well, I am Shirley Farrar, and I am so glad that you decided to allow me to come into your house or your business, wherever you're listening to this number 9 podcast. So I hope that you have a good evening or day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.